Welcome to the Money Over 50 podcast, brought to you by Dallas Davison and Michael Hogue from Money Over 50 Financial Advisors. This information is general in nature and does not take into account your objectives, financial situation, or needs. Therefore, you should consider whether the information is appropriate for you and your personal circumstances. If you require personal advice, please contact Money Over 50 Financial Advisors. Here are your hosts, Dallas Davison and Michael Hogue.
Welcome to Money Over 50 with Dallas and Michael. Today's topic, you're not going to die at age 80. Dallas.
Thanks, Michael. Now, obviously, I feel like with a title like you're not going to be dead by 80, I should preface this with maybe you will be dead by 80. I don't know. I don't
Surely
actually know
common
you
sense prevails. Surely you don't have to put a disclaimer out there.
This is not now a thing where you go, I'm going to go and smoke 3 packs a day because Dallas said I won't die at 80.
Surely there's I saw a disclaimer the other day on my father-in-law's mower.
Yeah.
And it was a sign not to
put your hand under.
Not to put your hand under the mower while it was going. And I was like, it's if you have to be told that, you're not reading any signs.
No.
There's no sign that's going to stop you from doing that. Yeah.
No. So yes, statistically, you are not going to be dead by 80. That is not the case. Now, where this came from, so I've got clients that came in the other day for a meeting. We often have some very funny conversations of me hitting them with some home truths and them joking about not wanting to hear it. But we talked about what they needed to do. I knew at the start of the meeting it was going to end with me saying, you need to put X amount a fortnight or a month into super.
Yep.
And I went, but we've got to go through the whole rigmarole here of going, how much income do you think you want to spend in retirement? We're going to spend this amount. No, you're not, because you're spending 50% more than that now. So what will actually adjust? We go through, work out what they really probably will spend in retirement. We work out how much they need in retirement savings in order to safely draw that income throughout their retirement. Okay, in order to get to that retirement savings target, you need to put X amount per month extra into super.
Yep.
So we went through all that, and then one member of the couple said, well, what if we don't do that? I said, right, that's also a valid option. If you don't do that, you will end up at your target minus whatever it was, a few $100,000 lower than where you need to be. You'll be drawing out more than what you can really afford to. You'll run out of money somewhere around 82. And she said, well, that's right, we'll be dead by 82. and I've heard some variation of this, and you've heard the same thing. Every single time I'm having a conversation with someone that they don't want to hear about having to do something they don't want to do.
You're having a conversation with people who also tell you that their mother's still alive at age 95.
Well, this is exactly what happened. I've written down this because I wrote it down in the meeting because I went, you have got to be kidding me. So I said, that's right, we'll be dead by 82. I said, what's the story with your parents right now? So one parent, of the couple, one of their parents is still going at 93.
Yeah.
All four of the parents of this couple, all of them lived past 82. Every single one of them. So we've discussed this before, where if there's a couple there, and I basically have to allow for what they call the joint life expectancy, which is that what's the average length of time that one of you will live, obviously, because if one of you passed away and one of you's left and we've run out of money, that doesn't help the one who's still surviving. So we've sort of always got to allow that margin of safety of one of you might pass away below average, but one of you will likely live, slightly above average. So, but this was a case where I was going, all four of your parents lived past 82. One of them is still going at 93, and you're sitting here telling me that you're both now, with modern medicine, 30 years on, access to, much better healthcare. I could list about 15 different things as to why life expectancy has gone up over the last 30 years. But it has, suffice to say that those are just the facts. On average, we all know that life expectancy has gone up and is continuing to grow slightly. Why do people think that all four parents live past 82, I'm 30 years younger, I've got access to much better healthcare, I've actually got more disposable income to spend on my health and on all these sorts of things. I can do all the sorts of things that will allow me to live longer. but I'm going to be dead by 80. So this is one of those things where we can flesh this out a bit more, but I'm here today to drive this into people that if you're sitting there and you often have this with a couple where one of them will say, don't worry about that. And it's always the bloke who says it in some pig-headed way. I'll be dead by 80 anyway. You might be dead by 80, but that will only be because your wife has killed you because you have spent all the money and not done what you needed to do, and now you've run out of money. So no, you are not going to die at 80. That is not going to happen. As a couple, on average, you are going to live, one of you is going to live at least 80, and on average, one of you is going to live far longer than 80. So no, you're not going to die at 80.
Yeah, no, agreed. And look, a better way, because we said it is a valid alternative not to put money into superannuation, to spend it now. And we don't have any problem with that. If people say
that's what I'm going to do,
that's what we want to do.
Yep.
What I think people do is give you the answer that it's like electricity. It follows the path of least resistance. So the easy answer to say is we'll be dead by then.
Yep.
What they, and I don't think they consciously think this, but what they really should be saying is, look, Dallas, we would rather have fun with this money now at 62 than worry about running out of money at 82.
Yeah.
So which is a valid thought process.
Valid thought process.
It's a valid thought process.
Yeah.
So
that's exactly how I think of it. Is there are as you say, there are a few different options, and these are valid options. So if in the case with these guys, where I said if you want to retire at this time, if you want to retire at this age, and you want to draw X amount of income and not run out throughout your retirement, your choices are either work longer or spend less in retirement or die earlier. Those are your only three options. So when you make it as concrete as that for people, they'll often go, and it's like you can see it going down a blind path and then having to back up and come back. Well, we'll work longer, but you just said that you don't want to work longer, and then you really, and in this case for these guys, it was an easy one because he worked in a fairly intensive mining role where we said physically it's just probably not going to be feasible for you to work beyond a certain age, and that's why we've set that retirement age as that. So that's not really on the table. Then when people say, well, we'll spend less in retirement, we won't go to do anything, that may well be a choice that you make. But just to assume that that's going to happen, magically you're going to be a different person in 10 years' time, and you're not going to have any of the same wishes and desires what you have now is not really rational. But at least that's something that's a bit in your control. So I can kind of go, if you say you're going to work longer, maybe you can. Maybe you physically are able to do that. If all goes well, that's an option. You're going to spend less in retirement. Okay, maybe that's an option that's available to you. Yeah, let's look at what that would look like and what that would do to your lifestyle.
Yep.
But when people say to me, no, it's okay, I'll die at 80, that's the one where I go, you have no control over death. Death comes for us all when that time comes. Unless you're telling me you're going to commit suicide at 80, which I highly doubt that that's the case, and if you do, I feel like that's the sort of thing where I need to be telling someone about that as your strategy.
Yeah.
But that's not what people are saying. They're not saying, I'm going to commit suicide at 80. They're saying, I'll be dead by then. And that is not the case.
Yeah, I mean, the glass is half full. So the reason that we're having this discussion, the reason that you, the listener, the reason that the listener is listening to this podcast right now is because of medical advancement. So the glass is half full. Yeah, when the age pension was introduced, the average age of death was 67.
Yeah.
So you got the pension at age 65.
Yep.
On average, you were gone by 67. There wasn't a lot of retirement planning needed.
No.
Whatever savings you had substituted your age pension.
Yep.
We now have, again, I say the glass is half full. We now have a much longer, healthier retirement because of medical advancements and because of medical advancements and lifestyle.
Yep.
With that comes the challenge.
Yeah.
With that comes the challenge of funding your retirement.
Yeah.
And like we say, we want to leave a room of a margin of error
Yeah.
in our calculations, but to leave too much of a margin of error means that someone would be working to 75. You know what I mean? So
I've caught myself. It's really funny you say that because I've caught myself saying this before to people where you go, right, your plan is for you to work until you're 62, and then you draw X amount. Now, you'll probably be fine. You'll run out at this stage. Worst case scenario, you live to 95. Yeah. Why is that the worst
case scenario?
So from a retirement planning perspective, from a financial perspective, from a pure expenditure point of view, you go, that is the worst case. You go, oh, geez, now I've got to fund a 33-year retirement from 62 to 95. But as we say, that is the only way that is the worst case scenario is to fund. It's actually a great problem to have. And you touch on a really good point there, which is that the whole industry, or the whole concept of retirement planning is a real first world problem. You know what I mean? Like, no one in sub-Saharan Africa right now is going, well, I've got to make sure that I save for my retirement.
No.
They are purely focused on, let's get food on the table for me and my family right now, today, and don't worry about tomorrow. Don't think about the future, because that I don't have the resources to do it, and who knows how long I'll live. But we are in a really lucky time and in a lucky environment where we're in Australia. We're in a wealthy country. We've had these great advancements in life expectancy. We've got healthcare, that's getting better and better over time. We've got this fantastic opportunity, and I always laugh because it's the way that people say that to you sometimes. But well, more fool you, because I'll be dead by 80. Okay. Well, you'll be dead, mate. It's not a great result for you if that does happen. And the reality is we have clients. We know people who have passed away before their time. It's not, you're not sitting there at 79 going, oh yeah, my husband's had a massive heart attack. Oh well that's good, because he said he was going to be dead by 80. It's not the ideal. It would really be a horrific thing if it did happen, and it's a sad thing. And yet when it comes to financial planning, we play that as like the ace up your sleeve, as going, well, I can always roll this out, which it's an interesting one. I think I've ranted about this before, but if that is your retirement plan, that you're going to be dead by 80, I'm here to just drive a stake into the heart of it and tell you that it's just not going to happen.
Thank you for listening to the Money Over 50 podcast with Money Over 50 financial advisors. For more information and resources, visit the Money Over 50 website, mo50.com.au. We look forward to catching up again soon.